Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Sport Federation TV, where of course we take a look at the sports in the Western Cape and of course across the various districts. And for many of you that have been watching the show, you will of course know that our sport codes that we talk about are the official sport codes in South Africa, with athletes who compete across the provinces, they compete across the country, and they compete across the world. Tonight we'll be taking a look at what's happening with Western Cape chess. We'll find out what's happening with Western Cape canoeing. They've got a couple of world champions. And we might speak to the guys from archery to find out how some of their competitions are going. But for those of you that have not been aware, we have a sport called angling and casting. Well, we think of it as fishing, but it's angling and casting, official sport in South Africa. They're doing some fantastic stuff in the Western Cape. And on the line with me now is Boyce Lloyd from Western Cape Angling and Casting. Boyce, welcome. First show. Nice to have you with us.
Good evening, JP. It's wonderful to be here.
Did I say that right? Is it fair for me to say, well, your sport is fishing?
Well, let's just unpack this a little bit. When you say angling and casting, in terms of angling, there are various facets. There's, for example, freshwater fishing. There is a rock and shore angling. What we in. So that's essentially fishing in the ocean from the beach. And then you've got light tackle boat, and you've got ski boat angling. And then there's a fifth facet, which is distance casting. It's essentially guys that get onto a flat on Mother Earth, and they throw a piece of sinker as far as they can. And I'm talking to you today. Our passion in the Western Province is shore angling. The old name for that was rock and surf angling. So we try and catch some fish from terra firma, fishing into the ocean.
What do you need? What do you need to get started? If I want to be a rock and surf angling and casting competitor, do I just need to go down to the local shop and get myself a fishing rod?
JP, what you need is a passion for the outdoor and nature. I mean, that's what you need. But really, angling can be quite daunting. And when you walk into an angling shop, it can be quite daunting because you've got ranges of equipment that could keep you there for weeks on end. And what really would be best is if you go in and you explain to the salesperson what you'd like to do, and what your level of experience is. And they will be able to help you. Most of the assistants in our reputable angling shops are actually league anglers. And when I say they're a league angler, they will belong to a club, and they will be fishing in the Western Province League. One of the best ways to learn is to join a club, and join a club, and the club will pull you into their social fishing days and their competition days, and there'll be more than enough people that can assist you in terms of what you need. But in short, what you need is a rod, a reel, some line, bait, and a fishing license. Yeah, you need a fishing license.
Right, you need a fishing license. What's the license for?
Well, it's a government license that allows you to be able to fish. And it also explains to you in the license, it explains to you what you're allowed to keep, and what the rules are of fishing, of what the marine regulations are of fishing. Of course, competing in the sport, we've got a lot of rules, and one of our basic rules is that we must honor and respect the marine regulations. But it's not that. I think my license expires now in December. And I took it out last year, December, obviously, and it's, if I recall, it's something like 70 rands. It is not
really
substantive.
So quite important then to consider the environment itself. You should enjoy protecting the environment.
JP, if there aren't fish and if we don't look after the environment, we don't have a sport. So for example, when we catch a fish, 20 years ago, even 15 years ago, we would weigh that fish, which meant that you had it out of the water, you were handling the fish, and you had it up here, weighing by its head or its tail, and that actually caused damage. So these days, the fish is pulled out of the water, it's kept flat on wet sand or on plastic, and then it's measured with a measuring tape,
Right.
And then that is what is recorded. That is witnessed by a teammate from another club or from your own team, and then that is what's handed in on your way card, and then those measurements is then converted into weights using tables. So we've got utmost respect for our fish. We treat them carefully, and they go into the water as soon as that measurement is done. Least stress, and it's back, and hopefully we can catch them again tomorrow.
Is there a skill to it? I mean, there must be, Boyce, because you obviously have your regular champions. But one would think you cast the bait and sinker lands in the water, and you just sit back and wait and hope that a fish grabs it. But is there a skill to it?
JP, I mean, I'm going to give you a quick rundown. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to stand at I'm likely to start at Macassar Beach tomorrow. I'm going to stand and look at the water. One of the first things that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be feeling the water temperature. If the water is cold, I will be going to white baits, which will be, for example, hadger or mullet or chokka. If the water is warmer, I'll be throwing more bloody baits like sardine, for example, because that water temperature determines what sort of fish is likely to be around. And we know what is the more favorite food of those likely fish that may be around. So that's one of the first things that I'll do is I'll feel the water temperature. That's going to determine what bait I'm going to throw first. And then you look at the water and that fish that you're going to be targeting. If it's, for example, cob, you don't catch cob throwing into water that's not working, that's not rolling, that's not foamy. It's just, if you got this calm piece of water in front of you, you won't find cob there. Then you'll say, okay, the water is cold. I'm going to be targeting cob, and I'll be looking for water where there's a gentle surf rolling across a sandbank, and that's where those cobs will be operating. They'll be looking for food there. And then that's what I'm going to be targeting. Then on top of it, you're going to say, I'm targeting cob. They don't like steel. It's unlikely that there are sharks around. I will throw straight gut. You can throw steel, but it's likely that if a cob gets your bait, you'll feel that sort of the harder piece of the steel with it, and the cob will not eat that. And so you've got a better chance of nylon. Then on top of it, where do you throw? What working bank? Do you throw on the right-hand side of the bank? Do you throw on the left-hand side of the bank? If there's a side wash from the right-hand side to the left-hand side, it's likely that the food that has been dislodged in that sandbank will be washing over that sandbank from right to left into that hole, and I'll have a greater chance of finding the fish on the left-hand side of the sandbank where that gentle wash of the water has loosened any food that they're looking at, and it'll be dropping in that hole on the left-hand side. So if I throw a nice chokka bait that's got a nice bit of float with it in a medium throw inside the hole, I've got a much better chance of getting something if I'm throwing a mackerel, for example, far on the right-hand side in the back with steel. The guy that's done that on the right-hand side is going to stand there and, as we call it, watch TV. And the guy that's thrown on the left-hand side, shorter with a piece of chokka or the float, may get lucky. And that's the point. That luck is engineered. It's a little bit like the guy that says, "Oh God, please let me win the lotto ticket tomorrow morning," and then God answers him and says, "Please help me by buying a ticket." So you can help yourself getting lucky by having the right bait in the right place.
Thanks, Boyce. Folks, we're just going to quickly take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we'll carry on speaking to Boyce Lloyd. Boyce, of course, from Western Cape Angling and Casting. And when we come back, we'll start taking a look at membership structures and how you can get involved. Don't go away. We'll be back after the break.